Hello folks, and welcome back to my channel. We have spent a lot of time over the past 2 years together talking about irritation bumps and issues with piercings, whether it's infected or just irritated, what those bumps are, and lots of conversations about troubleshooting and healing piercings. And it's a topic that I feel like I can talk about a lot because, as many of us know, healing piercings is not always an easy or straightforward experience. Today's video is continuing that topic, but talking about the unfortunate reality of the fact that sometimes it's easier to remove a piercing than it is to try and troubleshoot it and save it. Piercers, we always do everything we can to try and save a piercing. So removal is usually a last-ditch option. I want to try and save or salvage a piercing whenever possible. So get better jewelry in it, fix the client's aftercare, get something that's the right length or the right thickness or the right style or the right material, whatever the case may be. We are always going to try everything in our power to save your piercings if possible. But sometimes saving them is just not an option. Sometimes there are things wrong with a piercing where removal is really our only course of action. One of the first and primary examples of this is bad angles. So if a piercing is pierced very crooked or very improperly placed, no amount of good jewelry or proper aftercare is going to fix that. Here are some example photos. Most of these are helixes, and a lot of them are done with a gun, which usually piercing guns, not really the best angles because they kind of just take the path of least resistance through the ear, and they can come out on all sorts of funky angles. But with these piercings, yeah, sure, could I put better quality titanium or 14 karat gold jewelry in them? Yes, that's not going to fix the angle. Could I get the client being the most perfect saint of saline and aftercare? Yes, but that's not going to fix the bad angle. With angle being off, removal is really our best option because we can throw a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of effort at trying to heal the piercing, but the angle is off, so it's very likely never going to fully heal. These bumps are going to stick around, and it's also just never going to wear jewelry the way you want it to because it's very crooked. Now, to kind of build off of bad angle, we have bad placement. Sometimes piercings are just not correctly placed or just not thoughtfully placed when it comes to healing well for a client. My flat punch is a great example of that. Here's a picture of it when it was fresh. My second mentor did this piercing for me, and I thought it was so cute. We got matching piercings. I didn't want to do another conch punch because I already had one, so we did it on my flat. And when she was marking, I remember going, "Hey, so don't forget like where my glasses sit." And she was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. This is going to be great with your glasses." Spoiler alert, it was not great. The piercing sat exactly where the arm of my glasses rested. So even with custom short jewelry, with silicone eyelets in it, like I tried everything to wear in this flat to be comfortable, and nothing ever was because everything hit the arm of my glasses. So yes, this one had good angles. It was pierced with good quality jewelry. It was well done. I took proper care of it, but the placement was just not good for me as someone who has to wear glasses. It was always going to interfere with my glasses. It was always going to be in the way of them. I had to end up removing it. I don't wear any jewelry in it anymore. Here's what it looks like these days. It's just an empty big hole in my ear. But it wasn't well or thoughtfully placed for my anatomy, which is what caused all of the issues I was having with it. I was always catching and snagging it on my glasses. It was just bad placement. And again, no jewelry could fix that. Nothing, like no aftercare could fix that. It was just badly placed. So it had to be removed. Now to build off of bad angles and from bad angles and bad placement, we got to talk about lacking proper anatomy. As we all know, many piercings are anatomy dependent, meaning they require you to have proper anatomy to pierce. And very often I will see piercers who just don't care, who don't bother to check anatomy, who will just do a piercing on someone, and if you don't have the anatomy for it, that's not going to work out well. And nowhere do we see this more often than industrials. So here is an example of an industrial where this client's flat ridge of their ear was not very flat. It was actually a very tall, very prominent ridge. And the bar of their industrial was literally digging into and wearing down the flat of their ear, causing potentially really serious permanent damage to their ear. Again, jewelry, not going to fix that. Aftercare, not going to fix that. This client just didn't have the anatomy for an industrial piercing, and some piercer out there said, oh well, we'll do it anyway and see what happens. And this is the end result. So it's very important to make sure that a piercer is correctly assessing your anatomy before you get pierced. And it's very important to make sure that we're doing piercings only on clients who have the correct anatomy for them. Because when we don't, it can lead to some pretty devastating side effects. And then one of my last major criteria for opting to remove a piercing rather than save it is if it is going to cause serious harm. And this brings me to the piercing that I had to take out this week that inspired me to do this whole video. I had a client come in who had their cheeks pierced, not by me, somewhere else, and came to see me because they just weren't quite sure things were right. And they were done at a 14 gauge, which is too thin for cheeks. They really need to be a 12 or a 10 gauge to be stable. They were done with externally threaded mystery metal jewelry, so pretty low quality, not great stuff. Placement-wise, they were quite far back. Not quite as far as this person's first molars, but quite far back. Not flattering like where they wanted them for their face, and also just not a good placement with their anatomy. And then they were placed exactly on this client's bite line. So every single time they were talking, chewing, eating, drinking, they were catching these bars and biting them, and they were rubbing on their teeth, and it was just already causing issues only a couple weeks into having it. In this instance, like all of the other factors about like jewelry quality and everything, like pretend that's not a factor. The way these piercings were placed was very likely to potentially cause this client to chip or even lose a tooth entirely. So even if those other factors were things that we could have improved and could have tried to fix and salvage and save these piercings, no piercing is worth the risk of actually causing serious bodily harm. And in this instance, like losing your teeth is very much the definition of serious bodily harm. So the option to remove really becomes the only ethical option we as piercers can take. Because if I try and sell this client false hope by saying, oh, just buy these expensive titanium bars from me and stretch them up and come see me for all of these hundreds of dollars of downsizes, and convince the client that just by getting better quality jewelry and a better piercer, it's going to fix these piercings that are terribly placed on their face, that is not the right thing to do. Like the right thing to do is be honest and say, hey, don't spend any more money on these. These could really hurt you. These were done wrong. Like, let's pull them and let them heal, and we can see about redoing it the right way at a future date. And in a lot of these cases, removal is not only the best option, but it's the easiest option. Take, for example, the badly placed flat that I got. I fought with that thing for like 3 years trying to make it work. I sunk hundreds, if not thousands of dollars into custom size plugs, custom flare plugs. Maybe we try glass. Maybe we try stone. Maybe let's try silicone. Let's do this custom eyelet insert. Let's try like a T-back. I'm gonna get a big hoop that I can wear through it. I mean, I spent so much money, time, and effort trying to make this piercing work. And now I have all of this jewelry that I can't wear anywhere else, that was super custom for my flat, that's never gonna be comfortable, that's never gonna feel good, that I can't wear anywhere else. And it's just, I could have saved so much money, time, and effort if I had just removed the piercing early on. It would have closed up probably just fine or shrunken very small, and I potentially could have just redone a different flat piercing or even a punch in a better placement on my ear away from where my glasses sit. Like just a couple millimeters further out and we would have been fine. But removal was not suggested to me. I was encouraged to keep spending money to try and fix it, to keep trying new custom pieces of jewelry, to just keep trying and trying and trying. And I don't believe that that was like the ethical or right answer to give me. If there was genuinely hope that this could have been salvaged, yes, I would have been happy to continue spending money and effort to try and save it. It's literally exactly where my glasses fit. Like, you could not line this up better with my glasses if you tried. it wasn't worth the time and effort that I put into trying to salvage it. And I would have been much better off if someone was honest with me about that. And the other thing to remember is that it's not goodbye forever. It's usually just goodbye for right now. If it had a bad angle, let it heal. We can re-pierce it in the future at a better angle. Bad placement, let it heal. We'll redo it in a better place. If you didn't have the anatomy for it, we can do something cool and custom that works with your ears. We can do a modified industrial instead of a traditional industrial. There's lots of options out there. So oftentimes, rather than spending way too much money and way too much time and way too much effort fighting with a piercing that sucks, that's irritated, that's painful, that's giving you problems for months and months and months, take it out, let it heal for a month or two, and then have it redone the right way. And it will literally save you time, money, and effort to go about it like that. So I know the thought of having to remove a piercing that you like and that you're excited about really sucks. I totally get that disappointment, but sometimes removal is the best and easiest option. And if your piercer suggests that to you, understand that we don't suggest it lightly. We don't like having to suggest removing piercings, but sometimes it is the best, most ethical, and safest suggestion we can make. Thanks so much for hanging out and chatting, and I can't wait to talk again soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.